Are you having problems with your Harley Davidson alarm? Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well in these testing times. So this video is all about Harley Davidson alarm systems, and is there an inherent problem with them? Right, let's get into it. So I recently got a message from a chap who's basically saying that his Harley Davidson alarm was always being, or security system was always being interfered with by satellite dishes, television satellite dishes this is. Now I've come across this before, I've got emails on this before as well, but mostly from other radio interference and not necessarily from satellite dishes. Anyway, so I tried to do a bit of digging on the subject. Couldn't really find anything on satellite dishes specifically. However, there is quite a lot of data for general automotive alarm systems being affected by geography, location, and also any radio interference. So this could happen to you. Now, essentially, the alarm system, the fob, works off two frequencies. There's a low frequency and a higher frequency. Now, all vehicle security systems, automotive systems, work off two higher frequencies. It's either the 315 megahertz or 434 megahertz. Now, this high frequency is for the fob and the ECM to be able to interact with each other properly. Now, the lower frequency is an uplink frequency, essentially, to the fob as well. So essentially, they potentially can interfere with each other, but also depending on where you have your fob, where you have your keys, let's say, on your person, and how close it is to the seat, how close it is to any other electrical devices on your person, may determine whether you get a corrupted signal or interference signal from your fob to your ECM. So let's say, for example, in the worst case scenario, that you go to start your bike and the bike won't start because the alarm is totally deactivated the bike. It's basically, you got a jamming signal in there that won't deactivate the alarm on the bike. Now, this could be radio interference, let's say from a nearby mast. It could be that you're in a metal structure, for example, a garage or an underground garage or something like that. That's affecting the signal as well. Something could be affecting this signal. Now, this is not Harley Davidson specific. This is all automotive here as well. So some of the claims could be that Harley Davidson have got a faulty product. It may not be the case. It might just be you're a victim of circumstance here, in that it really depends where the fob is, what other electrical devices you've got. Is there any interference with that? Have you changed anything on your motorcycle as well? Let's say like a seat, or changed the wiring or interfered with the wiring. Has that affected current or voltages across your electrical system, for example? That could cause an issue as well. Now, in your owner's manual, it will also tell you a little bit about this as well. So on page 49, let's say, of the M8 Softails owner's manual, obviously it goes through the whole security system. But actually, if you go to page 59, where it talks about troubleshooting, it actually does talk about electromagnetic interference as well from other electronic devices, power lines, or other electromagnetic sources. I'm reading directly here from the manual for you. Can cause a security system to operate inconsistently. So let's say, for example, that you try to start your bike, or you've started your bike, then all of a sudden the alarm still's going off or something like that. It could be that you're getting some kind of interference, and it might not necessarily be the problem with the motorcycle. As I say, you could just be a victim of circumstance here. If you wheeled your bike a few meters away, then the whole system could rewrite itself and you'll be okay to go. This happens, I wouldn't say a lot, but it can happen quite a bit depending on where you are in the world, of course, and where you're parking your motorcycle and what local interference you've got. Radio antennas, that kind of thing, microwave links. Obviously satellite dishes, or lots of metal structures in your area as well. It could also be dependent on what's in the ground as well. Obviously that is a big leap there, but there's lots of factors which you cannot discount. Okay, before jumping the gun and start blaming Harley Davidson in particular, let's say, or there's a problem with your bike, you kind of need to troubleshoot and you need to determine exactly where you're having the problem. So let's say you can't start your bike because the alarm hasn't deactivated for whatever, or this is with the fob present, of course, or you've tried to put the pin in and it doesn't work, let's say. Then that would be a system issue rather than you're getting interference. If you can't override it with the pin, your security pin, then obviously there's a problem with the system. You're going to have to take it to the dealership and then they're going to have to troubleshoot that in particular. However, if it can be overridden by the pin, then you're just getting interference or whatever. Now, it could be a lot of this interference, or poor signal, I should say, be more specific here, could be because the battery in your fob isn't fully charged. Let's say that needs to be replaced. There's also been instances where different types of batteries have been put into fobs and they just don't work properly for whatever reason. There are particular makes of batteries that just haven't worked properly. Now, there's no empirical data on this. It's just where people have reported that they put one type of battery in and they're getting lots of problems with their Harley Davidson security systems. Then they swapped it out for another make of battery and they never had any issues at all. So check the fob battery, for example, and check exactly what battery you're putting in there as well. Make a note of the occurrences where this is actually happening. Is it happening in a particular geographic location all the time, or is it random? Is it happening at a particular time of day? Now, alarm systems have been interfered with back in the day, let's say, by people utilizing video senders or relay senders for video signals. This can also be interfered with by malfunctioning lighting systems as well, which are remote lighting systems which send out a signal. And if these signals are sent out all the time, as in a continuous signal instead of an intermittent signal, what happens is that could be operating at exactly the same frequency as the fobs, let's say, as your security system, and you won't be able to open your car, you won't be able to ride your bike. So it could be that somebody in the area, or particular company in the area, is using a bit of faulty equipment, or they're just using a bit of equipment that nobody really knows about. So it could be just a simple battery change in your fob, or it could be a system issue which you need to have investigated, or it could just be that your geographic location, there is a particular interference that you're receiving. And this doesn't just affect Harley Davidsons, this affects all vehicles as well, or those vehicles that are operating with a particular frequency on their fob. Now, as I say, security systems, the fobs, operate off two bandwidths. So it's 315 megahertz or 434 megahertz as well. So it really depends what interference signal is coming, what jamming signal, if you will, and how it's affecting your particular system that you've got on your motorcycle. I believe it was in 2006, 2007, that Harley Davidson changed their security systems from a 315 megahertz to a 434 megahertz as well. So there might be a difference in years as well on particular motorcycles. Now, part of this troubleshooting process is that you've got to look at your motorcycle as well. As I say, have you had any electrical work done to it? Have you changed anything on the motorcycle that might be interfering with signals from your fob to your ECM, BCM, let's say? Is your motorcycle battery fully charged? Are you having issues there? All these things can contribute to an alarm system that may be working correctly, or not working at all, or working intermittently. So what is the answer here? In the overwhelming majority of cases, you've got to say that it's either going to be a fob battery issue, or it's just a location issue where there is going to be interference from a particular radio antenna, let's say, that is particularly affecting the signal on the fob or the security system on your motorcycle, and there's nothing you can really do about it. It's not something that is a Harley Davidson fault in particular. This could be affecting lots of different vehicles because those are the frequencies that they're allowed to use. However, if it's occurring more randomly, or it might be occurring in a totally isolated location, let's say, where you're free of radio transmissions or you're far away from antennas, that kind of thing, then the chances are you're not really getting radio interference. It could be a fault with the system as well. You might have a problem with the BCM, that kind of thing. Now, in particular situations where you're able to start the motorcycle but the alarm is still going off, now you could have a problem with the internal part of your BCM, which is the accelerometer as well, and that basically detects whether the bike is being moved or not moved, and that will set off the alarm. So there could be an issue with that, or the way that data is then fed into the security system itself, and the way the ECM and the BCM all work with each other to operate your security system, of course. So if this is happening to you, then you really need to take it to the dealership or somebody who can interrogate your security system for you. Now, it might mean that you're looking at an early BCM change or an ECM change. It might be a total new security system, of course. There could be lots of things that you're looking at. Now, some dealerships, of course, some people may say there's nothing they can do or there's nothing that can be done, but it really depends what information you're providing now, what is the story, what experiences you're having, and how much interrogation that they can do. They can do a full diagnostics, they can see what is happening as well. Even within dealerships, sometimes they have problems with security systems on Harley Davidsons as well, because they get interference from security cameras or other electronic devices within the dealership as well, or nearby the dealership. So this is not all dealerships, of course, but it really depends where they are as well. So there might be problems that can be investigated and can be detected, but I would certainly have a really good lengthy discussion with your dealership, let's say, to see if this is a fault with the system on the bike, or it's just a general fault or a general interference that nobody can do anything about. Is it a problem with your battery in the fob? Is it your motorcycle battery? Is it just the general location that you're in? Is it only happening when you're at home? Is there something within your garage, let's say, where you park your motorcycle that is interfering with the system? Sometimes that happens to me. I can actually come back from home, I can put the bike on the jiffy stand, and then I can open my garage door, come back with my fob still in my pocket, and then I go to move my bike, and then all of a sudden the alarm goes off, and then it quickly disarms itself quite soon after, and then it will come back on again, and then it will disarm itself again. It's almost like it's not getting a proper signal from the fob to activate or deactivate the bike at times. However, it does correct itself in time. Anyway, I thought I'd bring this to you because, I get quite a few emails on this over a period of time. I got a recent one as well. We couldn't really determine exactly what it was. He felt he was being fobbed off, for want of a better word, pardon the pun, by the dealership, let's say, over a long period of time, saying, it's not a problem. I would say it's worth investigating whether the problem is particular satellite dishes or whether there's another issue as well. So definitely check the battery and the battery type in your fob, and then start really digging down into what could be causing the issue, and then look for a diagnostics from the dealership if you can, to see if there's an issue with that bike, if it's really a concern to you, of course, and especially if it can't be overridden by the pin. So if it's not happening all the time, then I would say it's more likely to be a location issue rather than a system issue. If it is happening all the time, then I would say you've got either battery issue on the fob, on the bike, or you've got a system issue that needs to be investigated. Anyway, hope you found that useful. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like and share. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. Check out the members area there, and also the content creator course. And I'll catch you again. Bye bye.